The best showreel footage I've seen never came from huge music venues at all. A lot of the time it came from a simple open mic night with 10 people in the room. You've probably stared at your phone thinking, how am I supposed to film a showreel when I don't have any gigs booked, when I don't have that much performing experience? And maybe you've convinced yourself that the day you actually have a gig booked in a very nice venue, maybe that will be the day when you'll be able to film the footage for your showreel. What I can tell you is that I've done some recruiting work for agencies, and so I've been on the other side of that process, reviewing showreels that musicians were sending to us. And what I can also tell you is that the venue choice is almost never what makes or breaks the video. What matters most is something you can actually go and do this week by just changing your mind without anybody's permission. And whether your goal is to get hired on cruise ships or it is to find gigs locally, the process we'll use to build great footage is the exact same. Before we get into it, if you're watching this video because you're thinking of working on cruise ships and you want to know whether this is the right fit for you, feel free to grab the free self-check guide I made specifically for you, which is just down below, and then you can come back to this video. So you might be wondering, if I have no venues or no gigs booked, how am I supposed to film a showreel without even knowing what I need to put in it? And the first thing I'd like to answer to this is, instead of picturing the perfect venue with you being on the stage and everybody watching you and getting the perfect footage, I would love you to remove that side of you that's probably a little bit perfectionist. At least I was when I started. And so the goal would be to remove that perfectionism within you, and also the comparison. Like, are you comparing to other people's footage? And instead of trying to hit that ideal picture of what the best footage would look like, I just want you to look at what are the ingredients that make a showreel great. And whether these are for cruise ships or for land-based gigs, of course it depends the kind of jobs you want to apply for, but in most cases what you will need is a video of you performing, and ideally if you can show that you're performing live in front of an actual audience, that's really helpful. Whether it's cruise ships or venues on land, they will love to be able to see that you are performing to real people and not just in your room. So always prioritize an audience if you can. So this is the first ingredient. We need to see you performing in front of an actual audience. And that's probably the most important ingredient. The second ingredient would be the way you present yourself. And it's not something that depends on whether you are hired for a gig at a venue or not. And the third ingredient would be interacting with this audience. So these are the three ingredients, and in order to get there, to get the same results as a good showreel, we just need these three ingredients. So making sure that you find a place where you can perform in front of people, where you can dress appropriately, professionally, and where you can interact with that audience. So once you understand this, that you just need these three ingredients and that you don't need to be paid for your performances, or you don't need to find the most amazing hotel or environment to film, then it simplifies things, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. So you have two options. The first one would be to actually get the three ingredients and to play in an environment where you have an audience. So the question becomes, how do I find this environment where I can play in front of an audience if I don't have any gigs booked? And the most simple answer to this would be to look at open mic nights, or if there are any live music venues that would not specifically hire you and pay you for a set for you to play professionally, but that organize the kind of events like open mic nights where you can just go and sing a song. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking that you'd love to know more about what it's like to be working on a cruise ship as a musician, how much do you get paid, what solo musicians actually earn, how long even is a contract, what you actually come home with, it's all broken down in the free guide that I created for you. It's an honest breakdown with a self-check, and it's free and it's in the description. You can grab it right now. Another option, especially if you are in the US, would be to go to a gig, for example, like a piano bar entertainer, and to tip them and say, hey, would it be okay if I just sing one song? So you're basically buying time for them to let you play at the piano, or even to give you the stage if you're playing the guitar or whatever, so that you can play in front of a real audience. You don't have to get hired by a venue for a gig, and you can just play a song or two and get someone to film you, and that's your footage. The thing is, it really doesn't matter how you get your footage and where it's filmed, as long as we have the 3 ingredients. So that's the second option of what you can do. The third option would be to offer your services for free. And so just calling out some venues, bars, restaurants that have live music already or that don't, and just say, hey, I'd be happy to play a half an hour set for you so that you can see how it is. And you do it for free. And a lot of them will probably say yes. If you have an amplifier, you don't even need a live music place. You can just call a bar and tell them, hey, do you know how many more customers you would have if you had some live music in there? Do you want to try it out? I'm happy to play for free for half an hour so that you can see what it is. And you get someone to film it. So these are 3 options: open mic nights, playing at someone else's gig by tipping them, or calling out venues and offering a free set. And if you're thinking, hey, I don't want to play for free, just think that this is an environment where you're gonna get something. Like, they don't need to know about it, but you know that if you play for free there, you're gonna be able to have that footage that will later give you gigs or cruise ship contracts. So this is the first option of getting these 3 ingredients, playing in front of an audience, dressing well, and interacting with an audience. All these 3 things you can do if you do any of the 3 things I just mentioned. Now, if all of this is not possible for you and you're thinking, hey, I'm living in the countryside, I don't have anything at home, I don't have any restaurants or bars, and if I want to play somewhere, it's very complicated and I can't do any of what you just said. If that's the case, I would not think, hey, I'm just not gonna do a footage and just give up on my dream. We don't want this. I would suggest that you set yourself up at home, just like here, for example. Well, I had my keyboard here, but like even just here, you dress well, which is the second ingredient, really important. You dress well, you play, and you make sure to respect all the other rules of showreel creation, so that yes, you're not playing in front of a live audience, which is not the best, but if you still are able to show that you can play professionally, dress professionally, that your material is diverse and that it's adapted to the kind of venues that you will apply for. So for example, if you want to apply for premium gigs, you really want to make sure that you're dressing really well and that even if it's at home, you're showing a setting that matches the environment of the venues or the cruise ship contracts you want to apply for. You're also making sure to add clips between 15 to 30 seconds of each song and the most recognizable parts, because anybody who will ever hire you, they will really enjoy to see that you know songs that people know. And you make sure to add some soft transitions. No need for your showreel to be longer than 5 minutes. And once it's done, you add it on YouTube, making sure to add chapters for each part of the showreel so that the agents can go wherever they want and see at a glance what your repertoire is. I think the really difficult part for all of us musicians is that we are very perfectionist and we tend to compare to other people, as I said at the beginning of the video. And so the goal really is to get rid of that and to get it done this week with whatever we have. Every time I have a consultation with a musician who wants to create their showreels, but they're too afraid of getting it wrong and so they're staying stuck in this, I tell them that it's important to create a showreel based on what they have right now, based on the footage you have right now, and based on what you'd be able to film this week. If you have a gig in 2 months and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna get my showreel filmed in 2 months, then you're missing out on 2 months of potential contracts for cruise ships or gigs on land. So you really don't want this. You want to create something with what you've got right now and to make it better over time. So if you're wondering whether you should have some footage live and make a showreel out of this or to make it at home, I would really recommend doing it live because, again, venues and cruise ship agents really want to see you being able to entertain an audience, to interact with them, and to see you in the real environment that you would get into if you were hired. So the main takeaway of this video is that the expectations you have in your mind of what your showreel should be like, whether this is just you picturing the best opportunity you might have or you comparing to other people, it doesn't need to be this way. It can be a very simple night with just a couple of people cheering for you in a local pub. It can be an open mic night where you just sing one song. It doesn't matter whether you're paid for it. And if all of this is not possible, it can also be at home as long as you respect the showreel rules for when you want to get gigs on land or on cruise ships. So now if you're thinking of working on cruise ships and that you know that showreel creation is your next move, alongside maybe learning songs for your repertoire, etc., I would really recommend you having a look at the course How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician. It puts it all together, how to apply, which agencies to apply. I'm even giving you my full song library so you don't have to format all the songs when you're learning the 150 songs. And I'm giving you all the insider knowledge that's available nowhere on the internet, and that might save you months and maybe even years. And so if you are interested, the link is below. There is a special launch prize for the first 20 people who enroll. So go and have a look, and if it suits you, I'd be really happy to have you in the course. Now feel free to subscribe down below if you're interested in getting more gigs on land or cruise ships contracts as a musician. And let me know below, what's the one thing that's stopping you from filming this week and putting your footage together so that I can help you even more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.